What are you seeing, particularly the young receivers out there, DK and some of those guys? What are you seeing out of that group?
A lot of talent, a lot of size. The size factor is definitely different than what we've been around here. See them developing. I see them getting better. We just had the little scrimmage we had right there, kind of tried to throw a little fade to DK. Didn't quite finish it. Came right back to it. Paxton made a nice throw on the outside. See him compete for the ball. That was good. There's been a lot of guys in that room that have stepped up. Keenan Reynolds having a great camp. Jerron Brown, he's not a young guy, but wow, talk about just an unbelievable camp. I mean, really stepping up. So those guys are growing, they're developing. It's been fun to watch them.
Do you feel like some of the rookies can help ease the pain of losing Doug Baldwin?
I think so. I mean, I think, the NFL's changed, right? And that's part of the deal. But we certainly believe so. We certainly believe that adding those guys to the guys that we had, David Moore coming back off of a good year last year is exciting. Jerron Brown, I mean, again, I just mentioned him earlier, but, I mean, he did so much of the dirty work for us last year, we kind of forgot that he's a really established receiver. And he's looked dynamic out here. Of course, Tyler, monster year last year. He's going to lead the charge, but we'll be fine in that regard.
You said to us at the end of the draft, the reason for the wide receivers is you guys want to go deeper with Russell Wilson and exploit his talent there. What does that mean for you? How does that change things, or how does that translate for you this week?
Well, I think, obviously that's always going to be the objective for us, right? We want to run the football, be physical. I think we're the best play-pass team in the league. I really do. Russ's ability to throw the ball deep down the field, that was evident last year, like the last eight games. We were, I think, top 3 or 4. He just got a great feel for it. So you obviously got guys like Tyler that can stretch the field. Now you add a size element like DK, David Moore coming back. He's so much more comfortable right now. Last year he was kind of a one-position guy. Now we're moving him all over the place, and it's been cool to see those guys just take the next step. And there's obviously step backs, right? There's things that come up like the play we talked about with DK, but we went right back to him, and he made good on his promise to make that play.
For a quarterback like Russell, who's as protective of the ball as he is, what does it take for him to be able to trust a young receiver, a rookie receiver?
Just time. I think just time. I think you see him working. They were just out there working. They're working pre-practice a little bit. It takes time. I think, obviously he and Tyler, I mean, you just watch them. I mean, they just have a great feel for one another for playing, together. Again, year 2 with Demo and Russ really spent a lot of time together. Jerron, year 2. I mean, so it's not just the young guys. We got some vets that were here that maybe we didn't capitalize on last year because obviously Doug had a good year and stuff, but we're excited about what those guys can do. But it's just timing, it's work, and we got a long way to go before we play a real game.
After the season, Coach Carroll talked about wanting to refine the offense a little bit. Have you guys had conversations about how to do that? What's that look like?
No, I think, the big thing for us was just philosophy-wise, just making sure that, we kind of know who we are. We make no apologies for how we play. We want to run the football. We want to be physical. We're going to take our shots. I think that's evident by the production we had last year, all the points we put up. Russ has had great numbers. He and Tyler having a perfect passer rating. I mean, that's hard to do. And we're always trying to evolve. So I think, year 2 is great. The staff's back together. It's been so nice to sit in meetings with Russ and watch cut-ups from last year. Last year we were just trying to put plays on paper and things like that this time of year. Now we're so much farther ahead, and it's cool to see how quickly the guys are picking things up.
What's evolving?
I would just say, again, us trying to find out the balance of the run and the pass, the ability to take the shots, Russ's ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage. He's done a masterful job of that this offseason. Had a couple really great checks today. So it's been fun to watch. We're still working through it, and excited about minicamp next week, and obviously training camp coming up.
Do you want that balance to change one way or the other, or are you happy with the balance that you had last year?
Yeah, we're never going to apologize for the way we run the football. Each game's different. I think you go into each game and you're like, hey, what gives the best chance to win? We feel like we can beat people however we need to beat them. And a lot goes into each game. It's offense, it's defense, it's special teams. But we have no question in our minds that we can win however we have to win.
Tyler, have you seen him, obviously the production was there last year, but with Doug gone, have you seen him be more vocal, just the leadership role kind of change for him at all?
I think it happens naturally. They watch the way he works. He doesn't have to say much just because of the way he works. Again, if I'm nitpicking, he dropped a big third down pass there, right? We came right back to him and he scored. I think that was probably the best example for a young player, right? DK had the one down on the far, and then Tyler had this one. So he doesn't have to say much. He's a terrific player. He's a great young man and very well respected.
Is there a player that's taken on that role of leadership vocal now that Doug is gone, or that group of receivers?
Well, again, I think it starts with Tyler. I think Jerron Brown's a guy we all have a lot of respect for. I mean, he never questioned one thing that we tried to do with him last year. He did, again, I say the heavy lifting, a lot of the blocking responsibilities and things like that, and he's certainly stepped up in that regard. But as a whole, we have tremendous leaders on this team. I think you look at the offensive line. I got to say, in my 22 years coaching, I don't think I've been around a more vocal veteran group than those guys. I mean, the addition of Mike Yapati, along with Dwayne and Fluke and Justin Britt and Jermaine, it's fun to come to work with those guys.
I guess with Doug gone, the natural thought is Tyler would maybe play in the slot more as he did last year when Doug wasn't there for some of those games. Is that a thought you would want to do, is have him play more there? Or?
We're going to move him around. I mean, I think you have to move him around. I mean, that's where these guys, again, in year two, they've learned the system so much better that you can move guys around. Like DK came in, he's learning the X. Well, we're moving him all around too, and he's handled that. But the best weapon for us is when they don't know where Tyler's going to be. And so we'll move him around, and he can do so many things so well. He sees the game instinctively so well that he's a hard matchup.
Along the lines of Tyler's leadership, can you tell us, is there anybody he's kind of like taken under his wing maybe a little bit, or anybody that you've noticed with something?
Close-knit group. I can't really pinpoint, one person, but he's always talking to him. That's what's cool. Like even after practice, he's always talking to him. Just kind of passing on secrets and things that he's learned over the last couple years. So again, maybe not necessarily one person, but he does a good job leading all the groups.
What do you guys like about Jacob Hollister?
I tell you what, terrific acquisition. He's had a great camp. The speed element is awesome. Really good route runner. A lot like Tyler in terms of the instincts. Just the ability to get open. Has a great feel for coverages, man and zone, things like that. So I think you match him up in there with George, and we got some pretty explosive playmakers. You guys saw George's catch today, right? Yeah. Looked pretty good. So, but he's been a great acquisition. He really has.
From what you've seen of Metcalf so far, what's reasonable rookie year expectations?
It's too early to say that. Just continue to develop, continue to work. I think the sky's the limit with the potential. I love his work ethic. He's a terrific worker. Whether he's catching tennis balls on the jugs, I see sometimes. I see balls flying around. So I think, again, a lot of it's going to be the timing that he gets with Russ. But I'm very pleased with what we see right now.
You spent the 1 year with Doug, but what will your kind of lasting memory be of the time you had with him and the player he was for you?
Unbelievable competitor, tough. Maybe one of the toughest players I've ever been around, just in terms of playing through bumps and bruises and things like that. Last time I talked to him, I kind of gave him a hard time. I said it'd be interesting to see, he's got that savage mentality when he holds that little baby girl of his. But it'll be fun to watch him move on to other things in life. But great competitor, really sets a great example for the way the game should be played.
The backup quarterbacks you have, each kind of interesting guys' backgrounds. What have you seen out of them so far?
It's been fun to work with both those guys. That's kind of my baby. Like, I love developing quarterbacks. I love watching them. Paxton's got a big-time live arm. I mean, he really does. For a big guy, he's really quick and athletic. Picked up the system well. Gino hasn't been here nearly as long. He's got a lot of moxie about him, great huddle command, which is cool to see. I think the big thing for them is kind of learning what our standards are, what our expectations are in that room. First day with Pax was kind of funny because he came in, he was prepared, but he really wasn't to the standard that we wanted him to. So we got on him a little bit, but the next day he was buttoned up and ready to go. And same thing with Gino. Gino came in, and if you don't really know what to expect and how much we put on those guys, it's hard to know what's being expected of you. So they've been terrific so far.
What do you think of the changes to the PI rule?
Oh, I think it's going to be interesting. I understand why it came about, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. I mean, we actually pointed out to our guys now. There was a play in practice yesterday where we threw a touchdown pass, and there was contact, and we just kind of, I think it was Nick Vanette, he kind of had a little bit of a bump or a nudge, and so we said, okay, there's a chance that this could get challenged. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Where have you seen that Rashad Penny?
It's been cool to watch Rashad. Watch him grow up. Watch him mature, watch him learn to kind of be a pro. I'm really pleased with the way he's attacking practice right now. Like last year, he didn't know what he didn't know. Now he's got some leadership ability. He's getting a ton of reps because obviously Chris is out. But it's been fun to watch him grow. The talent's there. We all know that. It's just him putting together consecutive days in a row, and I think he's done that the last couple weeks. But it's been cool to see him mature.
Can you play that role you talked about in terms of evolution between running and pass, given his skill set?
Absolutely. We had a little choice route that he ran, a little option route, and he ran a great route today. Set up the linebacker. The linebacker kind of overplayed him. He cross-faced him. You don't really see guys that big that can move like that. So there's really nothing that he can't do.
Is he any slimmer than he was last year?
Yeah, he looks slimmer. I'm not exactly sure the weights right now. We haven't taken the weights. I think we'll do it tomorrow. But he looks better. He's moving around better.
Jennings was a spot at West Virginia. I know he hasn't been on the field, but do you envision that maybe something too for him?
We'll see. In that system that they ran there, they kind of tried to spread everybody out, and he's the big slot. There's some teams that use a big slot. Other teams have the real quick slot that moves around, matchup type guy. But he's hard in there because he's so big and powerful. Been working hard. We want to get him out there, and when he's out there, we'll kind of throw him in the mix and see what he does. But his size inside, if that's where he ends up, creates problems for people.
It's only early June, but what's he missing by not being out here?
Just the timing element with the quarterbacks. He's staying on it. You'll see him out here. He's got a script with him all the time. He's trying to stay up with it, but it's hard when you miss live reps, just throwing and catching and getting on the same page with the quarterbacks.
What are your thoughts on Ursula so far?
Again, this is, I think, the first week he's been back. You see a very natural player in the slot. Again, he understands coverages. You see a guy that when he's inside, he knows where linebackers are, knows how to find the void, and then the ability to catch in transition has been cool.
Anything else?
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.